Good afternoon, folks, and thanks for joining us. Welcome to Kickboxing with Tim and the Mechanic. I'm your host, Tim Wheaton, joined, as always, by the one and only, the Mechanic, Brandon Cuttino. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. It's always good to talk kickboxing with you, man. It's been a while, but hey, man, I'm glad to be back with you.
And we got a lot of stuff going on as well. We had shows last week, and then we have 3 shows coming up in the next few weeks here. So we're going to be talking today some RISE action, some K-1 action, some Crush, and some One Championship as well. Are you all set to go, sir?
You know it, man.
Absolutely. And of course, as always, we'll have fan questions, and we got a list of them. But let's start with a fan question right away, because it's kind of the pressing news, and I think it's what a lot of people want to know about, of what's going on with K-1. So last week, there was a report put out on the Beyond Kick website about K-1 earlier this year had bought their trademark internationally back. None of us knew what that would mean. Now it's becoming a little bit more clear about what it means. All we have is speculation and rumors, though. So K-1 has reached out to other organizations, and they are intending to host fights around the world, including places like Lithuania, other places like that, wanting to crown tournament fighters who will then compete in the big K-1 tournament at the end of the year. And they want to work with other organizations such as KOK. They had also targeted things like RISE, Senshi, even KSW and Shoot Boxing. And what they want to do is be more international. So they're going back to doing international shows, and they want to collaborate with other organizations. Additionally, they're going to expand into MMA, just like they used to do with K1 Heroes. They're also recruiting Kazushi Sakuraba, who's going to help out with some of their grappling and MMA competitions and stuff like this. So essentially, K1 is making moves. My understanding is that next week there will be a press conference with an official announcement. Until then, we only have speculation and rumors. Brandon, what are your thoughts? What do you know? Tell me everything.
Yeah, man, I think this is great. You know, like I said, the K1 brand, the K1 name definitely still has cachet in the kickboxing world. You mentioned K1, people know exactly what you're talking about, and yep. I think it's cool. This is what we've been talking about, is about having K1 expand, because usually for the last, I don't know, man, I want to say 10 years, K1 is kind of just been in Japan only, and it's kind of hard to kind of get out there. So I think this is just a good way. Hopefully, they'll be able to work with other organizations. Like you saw what Glory did with RISE. You saw what Glory did with Infusion. You saw what Glory did with that promotion down in Mexico. Yeah. I think this is just what K1 sees it, and I know Glory is on their list as well, because like I said, they also too have the Netherlands, and I think Glory is who they had, because basically where they went to all the places that the promotion that they want to work with, that's where they want to do shows. Like Lithuania, that's where KOK is. King of Kings is. They want to go to the Netherlands. That's where Glory is. And then of course they have their foothold in Japan, but I think you can still get a different audience if you go with a different promotion. So to work with RISE and everything like that. So I mean, I think this is good. I think this is good for kickboxing. Also, too, this allows for fighters to go fight other people that are in other promotions. And this is what we want. And like you see it happening in boxing, where the big fights are happening, and hopefully soon it'll start happening in kickboxing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's much more collaborative efforts being planned, and there's a lot of good reasons to be optimistic about the future of kickboxing. And if you are a KOK or whatever organization, KSW or Senshi or something like that, it is a really great opportunity to work with K1, work with that brand, do a organization versus organization, just like they used to. I believe one of the things that they said is they wanted to bring back the Dynamite series that they used to have, where it was K1 versus Pride or K1 versus Dream, or K1 versus, I think, Sengoku one year. Like doing that K1 versus KSW. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Let's do it. K1 versus RISE. K1, like they did the match last year, and that was K1 and Shoot Boxing and RISE all working together, and they want to do more of that. And that's great to see. I'm really looking forward to that. I think the Takeru also fighting Bailey Sugden in Paris maybe had some, like, a little bit of a blueprint of some other ideas that they are kicking around of like, well, yes, you will work with us, but it will be a two-way street as well. So your guys will come and fight in K1. Our guys will come fight in your organization as well. This is how we've done it in the past. This is how we do it with Abima, blah, blah, blah. So there's more blueprints there, right, Brandon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Kazushi Sakuraba is on deck, so hopefully he does something great. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, more news upcoming next week, and that's all we can really say for now. Should we move to some fights that have happened?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome stuff. So Rise had held one of their major tournaments just a week ago, and all of it is on YouTube now, so you can get a hold of it. This was the Rise World Series 2023 first round results. Shiro had been able to defeat Ruben Shone from Spain. This was a full 3-round fight, and it was really good. Ruben Shone, I think, was a young man. I think he's 21 years old, and took Shiro all the way to the end of the scorecards, and this fight was much better than it had any right to be. I'll run through all 4 results for the tournament, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Kazuki Osaki was able to defeat France's Eamon Lamar. This was chopping him down with a series of thunderous leg kicks, but again, it was a really good fight. Eamon Lamar, for an 18-year-old from France, keep your eye on Eamon Lamar and Ruben Sione, both of them from Spain and France. Just tremendous work from these kids. Absolutely amazing stuff. Toki Tomura was able to defeat Pech Silla, round 1 knockout, and Kuman Doi from Thailand was able to defeat Mohamed Klua via unanimous decision. What were your thoughts? What'd you make of the tournament thus far?
Yeah, man, it was good. Like I said, going back to the Shiro fight, like I said, but Sion, right? Sion's how you say it. Yeah, right. You know, Sion started out good. You know, he was countering Ashiro's aggression in the beginning. You know, but then like I tell people, man, body shots. You know, they kind of start to add up. They start to pile up. You know, they start to slow you down. That's when Shiro kind of started to find his range. Started attacking the legs as well, and then you saw, you know, he was able to get his hand raised. So that was a good fight, of course. And then was it the oh no, we didn't talk about the flyweight fight yet. But yeah, but the other fight, yeah, but the other fights, man, they were good as well. But that fight I wanted to just mention real well, because like I said, the Spaniard was coming out real good, looking sharp. You thought, hey, he's about to take this, and then you know it just didn't go his way. Shiro pulled it out.
Oh, just tremendous. Like, Ruben is a guy to absolutely keep your eye on, because Shiro is such a highly skilled fighter. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the what fight were you talking about? The Kento Haraguchi main event against Anvar
No, it was the Tamura versus Pechasila.
Oh yeah, jump right in, go right ahead. That sounds great.
No, like say, you know, for him, like say, you know, friends at Beyond Kick been talking about Tamura for a while. Like say the last year has been kind of good for him. He's been on a winning streak, but like I said, man, he just was looking good. You know, he was a patient fighter. He was really countering that whole fight, but he was able to catch and counter, do his thing, and you know, he got the job done. But I just want to say, man, kudos to him, man, flyweight champion, showing you why it is that, you know, he is a champion.
I'm looking forward to it. And the rest of this tournament, the next round of the tournament will be in August, and then the finals will be sometime in the fall. It's not quite booked at this point, but we'll have Kumandoi versus Shiro and Kazuki Osaki versus Toki Tomura. One of our fan questions was, what is your prediction for this tournament? I mean, it's going to be really tough to pick against Kazuki Osaki overall. I like Toki Tomura a lot. I like Shiro quite a bit. Kumandoi is incredibly skilled, but I think this is a coming out party for Kazuki Osaki, for him to really introduce himself on the world stage of kickboxing, and he just is so sharp in these matches as well. What's your prediction for the overall tournament?
Well, first, I'm going to go back to the Osaki fight. I got to give shouts to his opponent, though, Lamar, because the dude was only 17. Four fights in his career, 17 years old, going up against a big name over here. Like, we all knew it was a mismatch, but he still came out there, he showed some heart. But in the end, like, again, you know, we all knew it was going to be Osaki's fight, and that's what happened. But I just wanted to show some love to the 17-year-old, saying this to me can only be something that's going to help him get better, progress. You know, it shouldn't stunt his career. So I'm looking forward to see what he does. But on to the tournament, though, I kind of probably am leaning towards Osaki as well. Like I said, he kind of really was I think he really was like the number 1 seed kind of in this tournament, you know, looking at it. But I mean, hey, it's a fight, you know, he's going up against, you know, saying like, you know, Shiro, who you know, who is a champion and everything like that. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
I'm looking forward to it either way. And like you said, Eamon Lamar, definitely keep your eye on this kid, because for a 17-year-old going in against a fighter that skilled, he did extremely well for a guy who was 17. Like, this is a good reason to keep your eye on this young man. An overall tournament, both of us are picking Kazuki Osaki. Fantastic. Main event saw Kento Haraguchi defeat Anvar Boynazarov via first round knockout. I mean, there's not a ton to say here. Anvar has been around for a while. He's kind of a lifer. He's been on the Dana White Contender Series. He's jumped in and out of kickboxing. Kento Haraguchi is a Kyokushin karate-based striker, and it's so clear from the way he stands and everything like that. He was really pushing into the punching game a lot. Then he comes back with this kind of incredible kick knockout. That was great to see. What would you make of it? 90-second fight. What'd you make of it?
I mean, remember, man, I'm like you said, was it Anvar? But I was like, he's been around, but he kind of has been on a hiatus, and he's kind of been away for like 4 years. It was like his first fight back, and it kind of threw him to the wolves. You haven't fought in a while, but hey, let's have you main event over here, so. I mean, like you said, it was really not too. I mean, he just got worked over. That's really all you can say, man. He got worked over, and it was over. It was lights out. It basically was a coming out party for Haraguchi. 100%.
Kento Haraguchi. I mean, yeah, it was. If you missed the main event, you can catch the highlights on Twitter or Instagram or whatever like that. The tournament, I would say you definitely check out because those fights are worth watching, and there's a lot of interesting things going on in those. But yeah, the Kento Haraguchi versus Anvar fight, we knew what it was. Any other fights on this Rise card that you wanted to talk about before we move to the fights upcoming?
Nah, I mean, just all in all, like I like Rise. Like I always think they put on good cards. I like what they do. I like their production as well. So, but other than that, man, I mean, it was a good card.
Oh yeah, and the great thing about Rise is that it's very easily watchable outside of Japan, where it's free on a Beema TV, and you don't need a VPN to watch Rise fights. How great is that?
Actually, I do want to give shout out. I think I saw the Jin Makakuro fight versus Kazan. That went the extra round. I believe that was also voted their fight of the night. So I mean, it was a banger of a fight too. Same when we're going to an extra round. So kudos to those two. And then I want to say it was Nakano. I think he had got a knockout of the night for them. So I mean, that was a good knockout too. Okay,
absolutely.
In the second round.
Yeah, I think that was a spinning back knockout, and then that spinning back fist. All these fights are available on YouTube. Rise makes it very easy for us to enjoy these fights. Make sure to check out, like you said, the Ryoto Nakano spinning back fist knockout and the Jin Mando. I'm so bad at this sometimes. Yeah. Some names I'm fine, some names I'm not. Defeating Kasane, because Kasane, they kind of roll out Kasane for really exciting and big fights. This is why, he was Tenshin's training partner, and they still made him fight Tenshin. He's lost to Toki Tamura and Kazuki Osaki, and they're always exciting, fun fights. But win or lose, he's a guy who brings it every single time, so he's well worth watching. But yeah, Rise brings it. Rise is really good, eh?
Yeah. Like I said, I really do enjoy their shows, and also I feel like their shows aren't as long as the as the other one in Japan.
It's so overwhelming prepping for this stuff sometimes and seeing the K-1 cards and just, holy crap, and then I don't want to do half of it and just say, okay, those are prelims and they're not as good. No, every fight on a K-1 card is actually kind of significant in a way, and we'll get to that one in a little bit. But let's get to the fights coming up here. This is just coming up on July 14th on One Fight Night 12. This is going to be a one championship, Superlek versus Kalalov in the main event. Superlek is their kickboxing world champion. This is going to be his fourth fight this year already, and we're only in July. He's going to be fighting Takeru Kalalov. Takeru Kalalov is a Muay Thai national Russian champion, and this will be a flyweight non-championship bout. What do you think? What do you make of the main event here?
I mean, I feel like this is a stay busy fight for a Superlek over here. Like I said, I mean, the man, this is his fourth fight, in the year. I guess he wants to stay busy. He's trying to get paid. So I like I say, I think this is a stay busy fight for him.
And good for him. They're going to pay him to do this stuff. I mean, Takeru Kalalov is quite a good opponent. In fact, Takeru Kalalov might be one of Superlek's better opponents this year. 4 fights in a year is still a big deal for a person as talented as him and in the main event. And it's great to see. I'm happy to see Muay Thai in the main event. But yeah, we're dancing around the ultimate conclusion that Superlek should win by pretty much whatever he feels like. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is just, again, it's just him just staying busy, staying sharp. and like just collecting another paycheck.
And now let's get down to one of the fights that I can't wait to talk about this one. I'm so excited for Pizza Power, Lara Fernandez from Spain taking on Thailand's Phet Jija. Now, Phet Jija, I think people recognize her name because she's gotten 2 knockout wins thus far in one championship. So Phet Jija, her only losses in her career, she was 15 years old and she was 16 years old. She's not even that much older now, but at this point, she is on a 7-fight consecutive knockout win streak in her weight class. We're talking about atomweight women's MMA, and she's on a 7-fight knockout win streak for like a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old or something like that. She's 21 years old on a 7-fight knockout win streak. Like, I like Lara Fernandez, but Phet Jija? Keep your eye on Phet Jija, right?
Yeah, like saying it's not that she's just winning 7 fights in a row, but she's winning by stoppage 7 fights in a row. It's not like, oh, she got 7 wins and only 1 or 2 stoppages. No, it's 7 wins, 7 stoppages. So she's coming to finish you. So you got to be ready. And like I said, Lara Fernandez, she's good, she's talented. This is gonna be a good fight. But I mean, like I said, you gotta watch out. You gotta watch out for Phet Jija because, like I said, she's coming for blood.
I'm so excited for this one. This is the best fight on the card, honestly. I like a lot of these fights on this card, but I am so excited for Phet Jija. This is great stuff. And Phet Jija's only losses, I believe, she was 15 to 16 years old. They were 2 quite good kickboxers. I think the one was in shoot boxing. The other one may have been in a Rise or something like that off the top of my head. But yeah, it was against like Mio and then Manaza Kobayashi. Like, no shame in losing to Manaza Kobayashi at the age of 15 years old. And look at where she is now. Just tremendous stuff. Lara Fernandez, of course, is an incredible fighter. She's an IFMA WBC Muay Thai world champion. So it's going to be a banger of a fight. We also have lightweight kickboxing with Konstantin Rusu and Bogdan Shumarov from Bulgaria kicking off the card. Anything on this on this entire fight card that you wanted to shout out before we move forward?
I mean, it's really just to me the same. This is about just Superlek to me, just really staying busy. Then just that the first fight of the night, I would probably lean towards watching out for Konstantin. I think he's the one to watch out for those two because I mean he's representing, I think, Russia. It's not the Russian flag.
Bulgaria.
Yeah. So that is a Bulgarian flag for that guy. Yeah. So I would say watch out for him.
Or sorry, Konstantin from Moldova and Russia. Moldova, Russia. Yeah, sorry, I had the wrong guy on screen.
Well, no, I think he has 2 flags. I think he's rocking Romania. Yeah, I think so. Oh, but yeah, Konstantin, the dude on the left. That's all. Yeah.
Should be a banger to kick it off. That's going to be one to keep your eye on. Let's move forward to the big K-1 card. This is coming up on July 17th. This is the K-1 World Grand Prix 2023. There's so many fights on this card. I think let's just start at the top. Hiromi Wajima will be looking to defend his super welterweight title against Jordan Picker. This is a rematch from 2018 in which Jordan Picker had defeated Hiromi Wajima via unanimous decision and picked up the Crush title. Since that time, Picker has defended his Crush title 5 times, and now he's coming to defeat a man that he's already defeated in Hiromi Wajima with the K-1 super welterweight title on the line. It should be a very exciting matchup. I don't know what to predict in this one, though. What do you think, Brandon? What do you make of it?
I think it's a good fight. I'm actually leaning towards Picker because I think he's too big. I think he's too strong. For his opponent. Like I said, he won the first one. I think he's going to win this one as well. They both been looking good. They both been on a tear. But I think Picker just has the power, and I think he might get a stoppage maybe the second or third round.
Gonna be it's definitely one to watch. I think it'll be a full decision fight because there's so much on the line for both men in this matchup. But I think it's gonna be a really exciting one. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure who to pick. Conor Silverwolf versus McKenna Wade from England. Brandon, come on.
Yeah. I'm rocking with. I'm rocking with Kana. Like I said, I know this is an opponent change for her, but I think it happened, at least enough time where she had time to kind of adjust if she had to, her training or anything like that. Don't really know much about her opponent, but I think this is just another fight for Kana to just stay busy and then for her to just call out another big name because again, like I said, we're hoping that maybe K1 and Glory can get together and we get that kind of Tiffany Van Soos fight maybe eventually down the road. But I mean, until then, I just think Kana is just gonna be just going to be mowing through these ladies.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This is a keep Kana busy kind of fight. I mean, but good for McKenna Wade. This is a really big opportunity for her. Masaki Nori is back, and he's going to be fighting Amancio Parashiv, and Parashiv is he's a Waco world champion. He has experience in places like Infusion and Kunlun fight from back in the day. Masaki Nori, he's a highlight machine. Tons of great boxing, great hands. Former champion in K-1. He's one of the most fun fighters to watch, honestly. I'm picking Masaki Nori all day here. What do you make of this? What do you think?
Yeah, man. This is violence. This is violence all day. Both gentlemen. Both gentlemen bring it. Both gentlemen are coming to put you out. And I think this probably really could be your fight of the night right here. But of course, I'm with you. I'm leaning towards Nori. I'm thinking probably stoppage, second round, fight's over.
Co-signed with that. Taito Gunji is back. He was the 2023 what am I trying to say? 2023 Fighter of the Year from many different publications and organizations. He's one of the top pound-for-pound kickboxers according to some rankings. He is on a tremendous many-fight win streak, only going back to 2020, and it's like 10 fights in a row. He's just fought a few months ago in March, and now he's back fighting Dae Siam from Thailand in a non-title fight. So he won't be defending his title in this one, but I can't help but think this is also a Taito Gunji kind of keeping him busy. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, I mean, if it's not for the belt, then why is he fighting? So again, it's just a stay busy fight. You know, non-title. Let me just get in here, beat up on a Thai guy, and call it a day.
Good stuff. We also have Miyu Sugawara, who is the current champion in another non-title fight, not defending her title against Greece's Dimitria. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pick against Miyu in pretty much any fight that ever happens. I mean, you find some young lady with 8 wins in kickboxing, Miyu's going to run game on her, I think. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think again, there's another one. Like we talk about this about K-1 and
I know
how they are with like foreigners, just bringing foreigners in just to get slaughtered, and it looks like that's what's going on here. Another one is, you know what I'm saying, you got a girl from Greece, said she don't got really that many fights, but you know, I mean, hey, you know, like they say, you know, records are for DJs only, so you know, we'll have to see what happens.
No, and that's the thing. This is a young weight class as well, where both the Faya Hong and Miyu are like 21 and 22 years old. Someone could absolutely come out from the middle of nowhere that we've never heard of and completely destroy all of them. But just based on what we know, this is what we're seeing, and I'm more than happy to be wrong. Speaking of, like, this kind of happened, like you said. We also have Yuki Yoza is going to be fighting a young gentleman coming from Thailand, who, you know, he's experienced, ton of fights. I'm expecting a really good fight. Yuki Yoza, though, is just on such a hot streak right now. He is kind of the it guy for kickboxing, on his way for being the 2023 Fighter of the Year if he kind of keeps this kind of thing up. He's definitely one to watch and one to keep an eye on. What do you think of the Yuki Yoza fight?
Yeah, man. Again, I think you say another stay busy fight over here. Like I said, I want to say they have like 3 champions on here who aren't defending their belts. They're just in stay busy fights. So to me, it's just like I don't think you're gonna try to have somebody come over to kind of really dethrone your champion in a non-title fight, you know. So I think this is just another chance for him to just add to his highlight reel. Yeah,
started karate at the age of 6. He's definitely one to keep an eye on. Stephen Latushko will be fighting KG. This is a good one. Cruiserweight. Stephen Latushko and KG both swinging for the fences. This is gonna end in knockout. I mean, there's no way it won't end in knockout, right? Obviously, I'm picking Stefan Latushku, and then apparently he is booked to fight at Glory 88 right afterwards as well. What do you think? What do you make of this?
Hey, man, big boys doing big boy things, hopefully in this fight. You know what I'm saying? You know, 90 kilos over here, man. These dudes got pop in their hands, so it should be a good one. I mean, I kind of feel like saying I want to lean towards actually Latushka on this one. Yeah. But I mean, because again, like you say, you know, he's slated to fight again at Glory 80, so I'm sure my man's trying to be in and out. So I'm thinking first round stoppage over here.
He's got to make it out, no injuries. He has to come out safe in this matchup. I think they gave him a bit of a layup. I think he can beat KG, no problem. Yeah. Let's go down the card here because there's just so much here. There's Toma versus View. That's a great fight. Seiho versus Maria Suzuki. That's another fight that I'm going to have my eye on, of course. What I really like, Ainta Ali versus Jomtong. This is a really good fight. Ainta Ali is a Crush champion. He's a young man in Japan. I believe his family is from Ghana originally, grown up in Japan. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch. He is very much a developing talent, and Jomtong is such a veteran fighter who's been around forever, fought the best of the best in kickboxing and Muay Thai. This is a big fight for Ainta Ali, and he absolutely needs to win this fight. What other fights on the card do you see that you wanted to talk about?
Well, no, actually, this is one of the fights that I do have my eyes on. I know that they were. I feel like K-1 was pumping up Ali actually, which is kind of usually something that they don't really do for like foreigners. You want to say, because he's not like from Japan, but they've been making video packages for him, and like I said, I think this is a good fight for him. I think this is a fight for him to kind of have a breakout. I think this is a fight that will kind of open up the eyes of people for him, and they'll know who he is. But I mean, besides that, again, I have my eyes on Saho as well versus Suzuki. Like I said, I always love the lady fights, and then the other fight too before Ali, I want to say is Taiwan versus Matsutani. How you say it?
Yeah. That's it. Oh yeah, Faihong. Yeah, Faihong's fighting. I can't believe I didn't even talk about her. She's like my favorite to talk about. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's really kind of most of it. Like that one with Ali, and then the other two lady fights.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, K1's coming at us with like 25 fights. It's going to be a full day, 10-hour watch kind of thing. And that's
like I said, I think this is their big card of the year. Like I said, it's like their 30th anniversary, year of K1. Something like that, right? Yeah.
This is the 30th anniversary. Yeah, that's right too. Yes.
Exactly. So that's why that to me is why I feel like they have all the champions on here, even though they're not all defending their belt. But I think they want to, put them out because they want to put their best foot forward on this show.
Absolutely. And it's going to be full of entertaining fight. There are some very well-matched fights, and then there are some great fighters to keep an eye on this card as well.
I'm also sure there'll be a concert midway through the show as well.
Man, I don't know how. You know what I've always been fascinated with is that someone like a Michael Chiavello used to do these kinds of shows for K1, or even the current commentators or whoever. How do these people keep up that energy talking constantly for 8 hours straight? Like, I'll sometimes do this show and then an interview, and that's a total of like 40 minutes of talking, and I am beat. I don't know how these people do 8 to 10 hours of constant stream talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I mean, sometimes I feel like that's why they have those breaks. Like they throw in somebody random out here just talking on the mic or whatever. It gives them a little breather. But yeah, man. I mean, it's a lot, but I mean, hey, man, you just power through it.
Yeah, I just you power through caffeine pills and stuff like that. Like it's just something amazing to me. We also have 5 days later on July 22nd. We also have Crush 151, which I'll be honest, I don't have a ton of notes for. I feel like K1 really put everything on their show 5 days earlier, and then the Crush show is for some fighters. It will be entertaining. I don't have anything for it. Brandon, do you have anything for Crush 151?
No, man, I kind of really wasn't really paying attention to Crush. I was really just thinking about this K1 show, and then going forward into August and everything like that.
Perfect. Okay, good stuff. Glad we're on the same page with what matters, and that's what I'd like to hear. Let's get into fan questions.
I mean, to me, like I feel like Crush is one of those shows, though, that's kind of really for their up and comers. Anyway, like it's like, oh hey, here's K1, and then here's Crush right here. You do well here, then all right, we'll put you on a K1 show.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think they really front-loaded their K1 card here. And then the Crush was, some good stuff. There's going to be some good stuff. Definitely watch it. But let's jump into discussions from the Discord. We have fan questions. Folks, thank you so much for sending these in. We have talked about one of what's going on with K1 already. But let's talk about, and we also have predictions for the RISE tournament. So let's get to the other questions that we haven't yet answered. If you were in Chatri's shoes, what fight do you think would be the fight to make for Takeru? entering one championship. And as an aside to that, what do you think is standing in between Chatri making Takeru versus Rodtang? Brandon, I'll start with you. What do you do with Takeru? Why don't we have the Rodtang fight confirmed? What's going on?
I mean, to me, the easy thing is Takeru versus Rodtang. That's the number one fight I would make. That's it. Like that's the fight that I know Takeru runs. Rodtang was running his mouth saying he wants it, but now he's trying to say no, he doesn't. To me, I feel like saying I started to think about it, and I was like, oh, why is Rodtang saying the things he's saying? But to me, again, I always say we're prize fighters. I think that man just wants more money to fight Takeru. I don't blame him because he knows that's a big fight. So he's probably like, hey, I want more money out here if you want me to fight this guy.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys are well paid. We know Takeru was making $750,000 at least American per fighter, $800,000 or something like that. Rodtang is right in that kind of range as well, where one really does pay him a lot of money. But this fight really does come with some weight. There are real stakes involved in this fight, and this is a generational fight. This is generational talents, the best of K-1 and kickboxing versus the best of one championship in Muay Thai. This is a major fight to make. I mean, one should be able to get it done. They should absolutely. They're qualified. They're a real organization who has tons of backing and good matchmakers, and they should be able to get this fight done. Rodtang very much said, yeah, I'm fighting Takeru. A few days before his fight, he said, I'm fighting Takeru. And he won the fight in Denver. And then backstage, he said, where's Takeru? And a few days later, he said, yeah, Takeru's got to get some wins. I'm hoping you're right that it's just a negotiation tactic. Yeah. And good. I mean, hopefully Rodtang makes some money, but I do want to see the fight ultimately, and I want to see both guys get paid handsomely for doing it. What do you make of? What do you do with Superlek though? Superlek said, "Yeah, I'd love to fight Takeru." Some people suggested that you should do Takeru versus Superlek, and then arguably you can have one of those guys fight Rodtang with a kickboxing title on the line. I don't know. I wouldn't risk it. I would do the Takeru versus Rodtang right away. But what do you think?
I mean, if you can't get the Rodtang fight, because maybe like I said, like I think it's a money ploy. If you can't agree, you can't come to an agreement, and Superlek is right there saying, "Hey, I'll take the fight." Then why not? Because the people want to see that as well. And of course, we all know too. Haggerty is waiting there as well. He wants a piece of the action as well. So I mean, they have options for him. It's just all about which fight do you want to do first. And again, to me, I feel like Rodtang is probably like this. I'm getting paid this amount of money to beat up on bums. If you want me to fight a superstar, you got to pay me more. That's how it is,
And fair is fair. They're going to pay him. He makes good money. I want to say Rodtang at least makes close to $1 million per fight to fight like not even a WBC signee debutante. He's just some guy they found. Fine. Like, that's great. Yeah, if I'm going to fight a superstar, it puts a lot on the line for me. You got to double my pay. Good for him. Hopefully he makes some money, and hopefully they get it done. Let's move forward. There are 3 Senshi veterans on the Glory 87 card, including Braun, Jurandel, and Filipovic. And then you also have Joe Miyahara, who just won his debut on Karate Combat 40. Can we safely say that Senshi has become a true pipeline for high-level striking talent? And again, that comes from Mac Tyson of the Karate Combat Hour. Make sure to check out their podcast. Senshi is a really interesting show. So it's not even for hardcore kickboxing folks. It's hard to find, but it is a combination karate kickboxing show in Europe. Brandon, go ahead here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got some veterans, coming out from there. I think we talked about going to places where you can find people. Like there really isn't no. Like we talk about a direct pipeline, I don't think there's scouts going around. I think it was usually off of gyms and stuff. But if it's off a show where you can find people coming from there and going from there, kind of like how we had Infusion being for Glory, because a lot of Glory guys were coming from Infusion. So I think Senshi could be that. I think I want to say it is that as of right now. Yeah. Saying you got what I think it was 4 people. So I mean, I think they're doing well. Let's see what else comes out of there.
Yeah, and some of the hardcore guys that I was talking to at the Glory show when I was there, they were telling me to watch Senshi as well, because all of the prospects are going to be coming up through Senshi. So yeah, if we can get a better handle on where we can watch it and stuff like that, we'll definitely check it out. But I do recommend, if you guys can find more Senshi, which is a European-paced show, we're gonna be checking it out. Do you think we'll ever see cross promotion between Glory and One Championship? I hope so. I thought it would be really cool if one sent over Roman Curricula to the Glory Kickboxing tournament. I don't think it'll ever happen. Brandon, what do you think?
Honestly, man, I want to say no. And the reason why I say no is because I think it's for Chatri. I think Glory would do it because, like I said, we already seen Glory do it with Infusion, with Rise, with that Mexican promotion. But one, we haven't seen anything from them with any type of cross promotion. You know, I think Chatri talks, but I don't think anything would really ever happen.
Yeah, and Chatri has said it plainly that we'll only ever cross promote with the UFC. So I think in their own eyes, Glory and K-1 and Rise and all these other types are not really in their league. When it comes to kickboxing and Muay Thai, of course, that's not true. That's not the case. But I mean, he's not going to go out in public and legitimize other organizations. One kind of is having a moment at right now. They are having the most exposure. They are. It's an impressive rank to put yourself at maybe number 2. Maybe they're alongside PFL and Bellator. That's kind of a big deal. And they're probably not going to start cross-promoting with other organizations now because they have the most to lose by really having the most eyes on them. Now, we know in the kickboxing world, when it comes to actual roster and skill, they're all very close, much closer to each other than we're giving them credit for. MMA is a little bit different. But yeah, I don't see one being willing to do that. I would love to see one work with K-1 a little bit more, and maybe like if you guys are going to service Jonathan DeBella and Anissa Mexen and Joseph Lassiri, why not send them to K-1? You know what I mean? Like that entire division. If you're not going to service these divisions, send them to K-1 or sell them to somebody else. Go ahead.
That's my thing too. Is I feel like Chatri. Again, I mean, I'm not trying to pick him in, but this is how I feel. What I see is like I feel like he doesn't have the. I guess I want to say the kickboxing. I guess I just want to say like the kickboxing background, like the workings of kickboxing, because even K-1 back in the day, like they worked with other people, they worked with other promotions. Like he's more of in the MMA world, you know, UFC, where they're not they don't work with anybody. I mean, like saying Scott Coker of Bellator, he has a kickboxing background. That's why he works with other people. Like, you know, he'll work with like
Ryzen. Yeah,
Ryzen, you know, or anybody else, you know, even from his Strikeforce days and everything like that, because he has that kickboxing background where it's like, hey man, we can work with other people. While Chatri, I don't think he has that. He's not about that. He thinks he's the number one guy out here, number one in the world. But again, like he's not doing any, like to me, he just uses kickboxing just to show eyes on MMA. He uses submission to put eyes on his MMA product, you know. But it's like these are the things that are getting people to watch you. Give the people what they want. They want these fights. They want to. If K-1's reaching out to you, to me, you'd be dumb to not work with them. If Glory's reaching out to you, to me, that's you being able to get your foot in another country in Europe. You know, you're big in Singapore. You want to say Asia all the time, but what are you doing in Europe? You know, this is a chance for you to, like, say it might not be MMA, but you know, you can do something. You know, even like Infusion. Well, no, Infusion doesn't really do MMA. It's MMA gloves, but they do the striking, like kind of like the Muay Thai that they do.
Yeah, Infusion did, and I was confused by the photos and video because I thought it was an MMA fight because they were in a cage with the small gloves. And Anyway, you got to try something. You see what sticks, right? Yep. But I think what happened last year, and I'm running out of time here, but what happened last year is One Championship threw a lot of stuff at the wall. They pushed Muay Thai. They had an all kickboxing card. They had like submission grappling added. And then I think they've just looked at the numbers. And unfortunately for people like you and I, Muay Thai was the one that they chose to focus on because they introduced new divisions in kickboxing and that they haven't done anything with them. And I think they just looked at like that One Championship First Strike, which was a pure kickboxing card, and just like, oh, it didn't get good ratings. We're not going to focus kickboxing. And that's fine. You don't have to focus kickboxing, but if you have those divisions, you absolutely have to. If you're not going to focus kickboxing, give those divisions to somebody else. Send those fighters elsewhere. Or, like, you introduce these titles, you introduce these divisions. Service them then.
Yeah.
Or get rid of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't be halfway in between.
Exactly. I mean, you know, it's like what Glory did with Petch. You know, they were like, hey man, you know, we don't got any fights for you right now. You know, we'll let you go elsewhere. And then boom, that's how the next, you know, this how Glory Rivals started up.
Yeah, it actually was. Yeah, the Petch's first fight in Rise wasn't even part of Rivals. He was just fighting in Rise because Glory was like, yeah, just like you said, we don't have anything going on at the moment. Go somewhere else. And they could tell that to Jonathan DeBella. They could tell that to Anissa Mexon. For some reason, they, just like you said, with like they were thinking with an MMA mindset that we're going to have these lockdown contracts so other fighters can't go anywhere. But yeah, no, it'd be cool to see. It'd be cool to see Roman Curricula fight in Glory or, a fight in a K-1. It'd be cool to see Jonathan DeBella fight in some of these K-1 fights because it's the right weight class for him as well. But yeah, we just don't want to see people locked down doing nothing. We just want to keep kickboxing busy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Stay busy. That's what everybody wants to do.
All right, let's get out of here. Brandon, shout out who you need to shout out. Thank who you need to thank. All that good stuff, sir.
And of course, remember, guys, support the show, Fighters First Out Shop. That's where we get all our merch, man. You know me, I got my Bombs and Drama collection going on right now, and that's what we're going to be bringing soon. Like I said, I got fight news coming soon for you guys. You guys heard some of my posts about the contract signed, but just not going to say everything yet. But I mean, if you've been listening to me, you probably know what's going to be happening. But remember, man, just stay tuned. Follow me and Tim on the socials. Follow our Twitter handle or Instagram at Kickboxing FF, and then of course we have our own personals. But yeah, man, just always thank you guys for keep tuning in. And man, I know our last show, I think we had over 200 views or something like that, man, and maybe more. But yeah, man,
it's like 500. I think it was over 6 or something like that.
Exactly. Yo, let's keep growing this, man. Let the people know kickboxing is where it's at.
That's right. Hey, Brandon, appreciate your time. Best of luck this week, sir.
Thank you.